Hey, my name is Tony Nordine. I am the CEO of Blue Painting. This is Tea Time with Tony, where we are going to be interviewing Aaron Bible about managing people, passions, and scaling a $33 million business. Okay, welcome to the show. This is Tea Time with Tony. Today we are talking to my friend Aaron Bible. He's actually runs a roofing company. It's one of the quickest growing roofing companies in the nation right now, so I'm really excited to talk to him. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So is that a good intro?
That's perfect.
Okay, good. Okay, so hopping into it, let's first start off just to jump into kind of what you're doing. Let's talk about how you kind of got into the roofing industry. So talk a little about, like, in the beginning, like, kind of what got you into roofing specifically, and then kind of the transition from what you were doing before into roofing.
The way I explain it now, because I've done a lot of like thinking about this, and I really think initially it was me buying investment properties, and I would say I started my first introduction to the roofing, and more focused was when I let someone that owned a roofing company money to start a gutter company, and I became partners on a gutter company, and it's just kind of evolved since then.
I forgot about the gutter company.
Yeah, but he ran a similar type company to me, and I kind of dabbled in it for a while, but, now I've been doing this a little while now.
So you did gutters, and I know you jumped from gutters. Didn't you get into...
Well, it was kind of all at the same time. Like, every year since 2016, I've sold at least one roof myself, probably, except last year. I don't sell anymore, but like...
Really? So 2016, so 5 years.
5, 6, yeah. I say this is our 6th year. I've saying I've been in this industry. Like, it hasn't really been in the last 3, I've been intentional about how we scale and like just our business model. But I've dabbled, or I've done it for 6. That's the way.
So when you were with the guy, like your partner with gutters, you guys did gutters and other stuff too?
No, he owned a roofing company.
He owned a roofing company?
Yeah, he owned a roofing company.
Oh, I see.
And I was talking about buying half of it, but like we didn't see eye to eye on the finances because he didn't know how to run a business. And like the money was the thing.
Okay.
So.
And you moved from that. Didn't you do cabinet sales too? Those like
when you did that? I did that.
Is that the same? That's not the same company, is it?
No, but it's a different company. And at the same time, like I think the year that I did all that, like that was when I was buying all that property. Me and Nate flipped that house in Bloomington, bought a couple more duplexes in Minneapolis.
And you were selling, just real quick, what was it you were selling? Okay, it was like wrapping cabinets or something?
It was refacing kitchens.
Refacing kitchens. So you'd go in and pitch them on, like, you don't have to buy a new cabinet set, you don't have to paint.
It was also when I was helping you guys with your accounting a little bit.
Yep. I
kind of had my hands in a lot of different things at that time.
Yeah. And then you moved into, was that the time when you were doing the blanket thing?
Yep. So that was one of the things I was doing.
So you were just doing you had your hands in a lot of places.
Yeah, I would say like I kind of had 5 different businesses I was running.
Is that the same time then when you did like the Green Filter Club too?
Yeah.
So you just did everything.
I wanted to start so when I quit working for John, which was September 2015, I kind of started 5 businesses and kind of dabbled in them all and kind of see which one started. And like, it's not like they were all with me. I've learned the positives and negatives of a partner.
Yeah, you have had a lot of partners. That's pretty cool. You kind of jumped in and out of businesses, and
I've learned.
Yeah.
I take what I've we could talk about John, and like John gave me an opportunity at a young age, and I helped him scale his business from like 4 million when we started all the way up to over 20. And he paid me very well, and like I just applied what I learned from him. He taught me what to do and not to do. I think he definitely made some mistakes, but I've just tried to apply that.
Yeah.
But when I quit there in 2015 because I was tired of the bullshit, I decided to go on my own, and it was the first time I didn't have a paycheck. And I haven't had a paycheck since then.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you do? Like when you left John's, what was the first thing you did? Was it partner with the guy with the gutter and roof company?
I would say within 3 months of quitting John, I was the financier of a gutter company. I did the Green Filter Club, started Forcefield. And Forcefield did really well, I want to say, in 17 was the year?
It had a really good kickstart.
We sold over $1 million worth of that blanket. it's just like the costs to acquire like didn't seem to make sense. You know, it was like I was betting thousands of dollars to hopefully make hundreds of dollars based on online ads.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense for me because I wasn't seeing it. And then once Christmas passed, I gave it and just decided I'm going to focus on something else.
Yeah, so let's real quick just rewind. So first, green filter. I want to just get into these a little deeper. So green filter, explain what that was and what you did with it, because I know you ended up selling it ultimately.
Yeah, no, that one didn't, like, that's a solid concept. You know, the issue was I didn't like the production that we figured out at that time, but it was more or less like, you know, like the Dollar Shave Club or whatever. It was that for furnace filters.
Yeah, so you were partnered with somebody who like manufactured them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a website where people could sign up and get filters. I thought it was a genius idea because like if I owned a house, I'd want to set something up and just get them in the mail. I wouldn't want to have to go out and buy them.
Because people forget to change them. Yeah, you go buy the 3-pack at Home Depot. You know, you put one in, forget about the other two, and it sits there until like, oh, I should change my furnace filter. Versus if you get one in the mail, it's like, oh, it's time to change my filter.
Did you come up with that idea?
Yeah.
So you came up with the idea.
I mean, other people have came up with it. I don't think I'm unique, but
no,
like,
but you thought of the idea, and you had a friend who owned the.
You know, the furnace filter manufacturing.
Yeah, okay. And then you created the website, right? How do you find somebody to create the website?
You know, man, like my memory isn't good that far back.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I looked at like those businesses, like there was some success and failure in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it really set me up to what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I look at it.
Yep. And then you jumped in. So from there, you moved into blankets, which just for context, I want to, so people know. Like,
well, you see, like, what you're taking is like jump in from one to another, and that's where you have it all wrong. Dude, I can't sit still. I was doing this all at once.
Oh, I
You
see.
know, like I was running all these businesses simultaneously, and they were all getting a little bit of my attention.
Yep. Okay.
And it was,
that makes sense. Yeah. And I kind of remember the time. Let's talk about the job real quick, I just want to give context on what the blankets are.
All right. They're a glow-in-the-dark blanket. It was force field cloak. It was a way to help kids that are afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lay the blanket on your bed. It glows for 8 to 10 hours, and it kind of fades off in the night. So if it's like a nightlight built into their bed, protect them from the monsters of the dark.
Perfect. And then did you guys patent anything?
We patented the technology for the glow.
Yeah, the glow was unique, right? It could glow longer than others.
Yeah, it was because the way we did it. But looking back, like I learned a lot. You know,
Yeah.
like there was things I would do differently if I were to do that again.
Of course, yeah. I think everybody has that. So and then with the force field, you ended up doing a Kickstarter. That Kickstarter I remember the Kickstarter did really well, and you got on a bunch of news outlets and stuff like that. And then from there you transitioned into, or you were still at the time doing the gutters and stuff like that.
I was still doing the gutters, still selling roofing.
Okay,
a little bit selling kitchens, like helping a bunch of people with accounting, buying investment properties. Like I had like 5 or 6 different hats I was wearing, doing different things. But yeah.
And what year did you transition into like full-time roofs?
I made the decision in fall or summer 2018.
2018.
Yeah, like I decided like this is what I want to focus on. This makes the most sense. Let's put it all into this.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so then you moved into and was that what was that company called? Hail Mayday. Mayday?
See, that's where people sometimes get confused. Like my LLC has been around and it's always just been a different DBA. So it'll be more or less like a brand change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when me and, you know, my former, he wasn't really a partner, but sales manager, somewhat partner, I paid him half the profit, left. You know, he wanted his name back, and I said, have your name.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think your name's better anyways, moving forward. But the only reason I ask is that was, like, when you were Mayday, right, was that what you were doing full-time, or were you still dabbling? That was when you made the decision to move.
It was
full-time.
even before, like, that was even for sure done. I decided I was going to be a full-time, like, this is what I was going to do, exterior construction sales. Like, I made that, and then Mayday, I made that decision, and then Mayday, and that kind of followed immediately after.
Okay.
And that was a very instrumental year in learning the industry.
Yeah. Yep. And then you moved into options, and kind of what did the transition feel like So you say, wait, moving into options there was really no transition because it was just you switched the name really. You
Yeah.
got a new website maybe.
Yep. Like,
Same staff,
he
everything.
told me he didn't want to be in business with me anymore. And he told me he was taking the company. And I said, okay. We came to an agreement on what that looks like. And we went our separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
I was really unsure what the future was going to hold at that time.
Yep.
But like a couple places, like some of it's just dumb luck, opening an office in Cedar Rapids, in the middle of COVID. And then the 100-year wind event happens, that fall. Like it's like you can't make that up.
Yeah.
I've just been, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. So now we're in options, and your first year was wildly successful. Second year is wildly successful. That's kind of where we're at. Last year was your second year of options, right? Or third year was it?
I mean, I say 6, but I mean, I would say third.
Third year. Okay.
Third, fourth. I would say fourth. If we're going, because we're gonna be on the Inc. 5000 or whatever this year, because it will be the fourth year for that, for growth. We should be one of the fastest growing companies on that.
Okay. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to apply for that, or how do you get on
Yeah,
it?
you got to show them copies of your tax returns.
Really?
So they're looking at my 2018 business tax return, show them my 2021. They're going to calculate the growth from those, and
That's all. You just show them two. You don't have to show them.
I don't. Maybe I'll show all 4. Like it says, the way we scaled, kind of still blows me away, but it all comes down to systems and processes.
Yeah. So let's hop into that. So I have next question is just give me an overview of your operation. Like, give me an overview of how you operate the company right now. Like who's in what places, and.
So I'm constantly making tweaks. Like I think initially when I started down the route, we bootstrapped the company. Like if you remember our first office, it was a duplex that I owned. We turned the second floor of the duplex into our office. And we'd have sales meetings in that. We'd bring like 10 salespeople or whatever, Saturday morning sales meeting, come, learn your role, and then we go out and do it. And then, then I hired a couple more staff and a couple more staff. And it's just I'm trying to create the perfect roof system. If someone's job doesn't work here, you apply it in a different way here. And I think I've been pretty good with selecting people to hire, finding out where their strengths are and where their challenges might be, and trying to come up with solutions to make them be a maximum efficiency.
Yeah.
So we're always looking at I look back from my telemarketing days in our sales process. It's what is a system and a process? This is how you do the job, and the more you can explain that on the front end, it's easier. And then once you get into our system, what does that look like through throughput? Like if you just talk about the sales out there sells, they turn it into production. I got a guy that scrubs the file, writes the order, and puts it on our boards. That's kind of his full-time job. Make sure we have good data for production, make sure the production's ordering what they need, or at least start.
So is that from the sales? So somebody books the job or whatever, and then it goes through this person.
Yeah, so they submit it to approved. In order for it to be admitted into approved, they get on the sales leaderboard. We need to approve it.
I see.
And they need to have, depends on the type of work, but they usually need at least 5 things in that. And it's do you have these 5 things? Are these forms filled out correctly? Have you uploaded 100 photos? Do you have the proper names and contact info? And if it is, if it's rejected, go fix this. I got now 2 sales processors, kind of office managers in Iowa office and my Minnesota office that help my sales guys with their files, because that's not their strength. It's kind of numbers
sales
aren't their strength.
Yep.
I go back to telemarketing and sales sheets. It's this is how you sell. This is our pricing. Keep it simple, stupid. Kind of basic things like that.
Yeah.
And then just process. It's what is a good customer process? I got a full-time quality control guy that, after the day of a job, or maybe sometimes too, depending how busy we are, within a day or 2 of the job, quality control goes out there, knocks on the front door, cleans up the house one more time, make sure it's clean, the exterior, because nails. I mean, the average roof has 20,000 nails.
Yeah.
And you ask us to remove all of them. Sometimes we're not perfect, but we just do it. Take some photos, do quality control. Got a full-time handyman. That was the best hire I ever made in 2019. because like this, it's inevitable in construction you break shit.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do you fix it, and how do you deliver that positive, good customer experience? Because like I say this kind of joking, but like I'm in an industry where like if you show up on time, do what you say you're gonna do, and fix shit when you break it, you're better than 9 out of 10 people. Just running basic business practices.
Yeah. That's cool. So let's. I just want to go through the whole like in order here. So the sales rep books the job. It goes through like a scrubber or whatever office admin who puts, and then if they check off the 5 boxes, then they end up on the leaderboard. And then from there, what is production? How does production handle it?
It depends. Like we have we do we're a general contractor. Like I'm a licensed general contractor. We do more than just roofing.
Yep.
Granted, roofing is a significant portion of our business. But we also, I think last year it was 1,100 approximately houses we roofed, but we also sided 400. So that's about 30%. Gutters were probably on about 30% too. And windows were probably 10. So sometimes, you might have one project with 5 different trades. And we even would do trades like garage doors, screens for Screen Medic. Some of these builds can get, pretty complicated, and it's how do you manage the data? Because that's where most people I feel go wrong. Some of the best salesmen can sell it, but if you can't build it, it doesn't matter.
I know. It's connecting the two.
In this industry, people talk about roofers and numbers and whatever, and no one ever believes them. Just because you can sell something or see it on a piece of paper doesn't mean you actually get paid that and actually build it. Until that money's in your bank and that job is completely done, you haven't earned anything. What's that number?
Yeah.
Is always where I come back from, and some people don't even know. It's kind of just basic business practices. Know how much money you owe, who you owe it to, and cash flow management. I just feel like I'm in an industry where there's plenty of money, but people go out of business because they don't know how to run a real business.
Yeah. So to talk production, so what is it if it's roofing? What is the steps it goes through?
So if it's a roof only, it goes into production. They have the measurements, the roof scope, the sign contingent, the addendum, and the paperwork based on pricing. Either an estimate of some form. And then the job scrubber creates the bill, because I don't like my guy's strength isn't math. So they kind of have our pricing. The guy that puts it into approve does the math, puts that on the worksheet, and then puts it on the boards. And then my goal with production is good customer experience. So assuming no material delays, our goal is to have that roof on in under 2 weeks. And sometimes if it's an insurance work, we might not agree with the estimate. We can kind of fix that at the same time instead of waiting for that 100% to be figured out. We're going to make sure that customer is taken care of.
So you put the roof on before you even have.
But a common thing in our industry is ice and water for code. It's a protection to hit 24 inches inside the heated wall. And some insurance adjusters don't know that in Minnesota, and they don't put on the estimate. Well, sometimes they make you get photos of the existing. Sometimes, you can just show them the code. But it's just, instead of worrying about making sure you get paid for it, I'd rather deliver it, because I know that insurance company's going to pay me for it because it's required.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of intricacies like that for my business. But more or less, I got a main production manager that, runs, a good portion of it. And then for our specialty and commercial and small trades, there's kind of a different production av, because that's where stuff gets lost. I feel like a lot. And then that would be, so my production staff, I got full-time quality control guy in Minnesota, full-time job runner in Minnesota, full-time handyman in Minnesota, another runner that I hire in the summer. Those would be my in-the-field production staff. And then in the office, I have Christina, who's my wife. She's kind of the director of operations. Pulling her out of the hospital and putting her in roofing was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Just in how she's been able to
What'd she do in the hospital?
She helped the leaders manage staff and create systems and processes.
Perfect spot for her then.
Yeah, she's able to pick it up where I'm at with the staff, but for organization and attention to detail and process, she's a black belt or whatever it is in
what is it called? Yeah.
Yeah. She has those sort of stuff. She just got her master's in healthcare administration, last year or 2 years ago. And now she's doing this.
So you have a production guy. You have somebody who managed the schedule, I'm guessing, that's in the office, right?
Yeah.
And then
and he fields you know this during a build, like things happen. He makes the decisions on what happens. He puts out the fires, tells someone to go get something to go here to deliver that good customer seamless process. Because you might be doing a project and it might look really simple, but like
there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
And it's how do you solve it fast.
So he's like basically problem solver, logistics, getting everything coordinated, and then you have the reps. Are the reps the ones communicating with the customer then?
Yes.
Mainly?
Yes.
Does the production guy ever communicate with the customer?
If there's some questions that the reps can't answer, you know, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you my reps have the most construction knowledge, period. Because I feel like I just don't pull my reps from that. You can be really good at their customer service and attention to detail. Because I really think that's what the key is, attention to detail, customer service. And you can train the rest and you can hire the rest, but it's managing the customer's expectations and that whole relationship is, I feel, how you succeed. Like referrals is a significant portion of our business, and that's because people like us. You know, like we also use door knocking, and it's like, you know, I know you don't know me, but just Google us, and by the time you're done, you're going to work with us. You know, and it's true.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, and then so your production guy schedules it. He tells your project manager, who's the sales rep, right? He tells them when it's going to happen, and does the production guy coordinate with the roofer, the actual crew that's going to go out there?
Yeah, he manages all the crews.
So he's on the phone with the crews, giving them the work order and stuff.
Well, no, we have that all like digitalized. Like they have an app on their phone where they can upload photos.
Okay.
Do all that stuff with us. Tell us when they're at the job. Tell us when they're done with the job.
Okay. That makes it a lot easier, I bet.
Helps us stay organized.
Yeah.
You know, like we have real-time pricing from our supplier that downloads into our CRM, and we can write an order, get a projected profit margin on that order. If the labor piece is built out right, like I look at my CRM and I think I'm spending $8,000 a month, but I couldn't run my business without it. You know, like I know that.
Have you ever thought about custom building one? It's not worth it.
I don't think it's worth it. Some people think it is, but like they fixed one of the big issues recently, and now I got to transition my business over to it because a big issue with it was the accounting piece, and they fixed that. So we're up to see like I know people that like have bought really expensive software or built really expensive software, and like this company's a software company, and there's a reason why like 30 or 40% of the largest roofers use it because it's made for what we do and the way our business flows.
It's made just for roofers, essentially. Roofers and related
I would say,
trades.
Yeah, I would say definitely roofers is what it's made for.
Do you guys use those like VR systems for... I saw that you guys did at one point, flying the drones.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes it's unsafe to get on a roof. Sometimes you're unable to. Drones are good. They serve a purpose.
Okay, so you have some, but it's not like the way you do it.
I would say about half my staff has some.
Oh, okay.
It just comes down to how they use that in their, in the field. I mean, some of my guys don't know how to use computers, and teaching them our software was challenge enough.
Yeah.
But some of them are like geniuses, and I have this one that has 3 drones now.
Really?
Yeah.
What, does he use all of them?
Yeah, I don't know why, but he has 3 different drones for different scenarios.
I guess that worked. So what is one thing you dislike about your industry?
The bad name it has. A lot of people think roofers are, greedy scumbags or like liars. You hear people rolling into town or storm chasers come in after a storm, because a big part of my business and work is weather related. But that out-of-state company or that out-of-town company comes in, they get someone to give them these big checks, and then they either don't do a good job or never do the work, and like, that's why like we don't require, like I don't need deposits, you don't need to pay me anything until I got guys up on your roof and materials in your driveway, like someone once told me I bought market share doing that, but I don't need your money to build a roof. I'm going to build your house, and if I do something wrong, I'm going to fix it. And if you don't pay me, I'm going to take your house. Like this really comes down to that's my business model.
Yeah. Have you ever had to do that?
I mean, I've definitely filed liens. Yeah. They usually resolve themselves.
Yeah.
There's a young lady right now that we'll see what happens. But like she has, I don't even know. I hear she's a drug addict and she spent all the money. So like you can't.
She
like,
spent the money from the insurance company?
Yeah, like 20 grand. So it's not like a ton, but like
Isn't that an insurance fraud or something?
no, it's not insurance fraud, but like you win some, you lose some. And for me, it all comes down to numbers and big picture. And like volume really like I look at roofing companies, and like I was really lucky with how quickly we grew. But I really believe the magic happens when you reach a certain scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like any roofing company that does below $10 million a year in revenue is severely disadvantaged to anyone that does more because of the economies of scale with staff, buying power, crew availability. Like I have some of the most talented crews that work for me.
That's what I was going to ask. So do you have any issues getting labor at all on your builds?
I pay well. And I show them that I care. I don't screw them over on the back end. Like we rented a Hispanic nightclub this fall, and I threw an end of the season party. Got 150 of my crew drunk. Brought my sales guys to come, made them serve them. Hired a DJ, mariachi, had a piñata for the kids.
So they love working for you.
We give them hats, we give them sweatshirts. Give them shirts. We try to show them that they're part of the team. Like I look at just my company period, from my sales to my staff. I really big believer in the team. Like we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this together. This is how we're gonna do this. Follow me. And it sounds kind of crazy, but it's kind of all like work together.
What is so let's talk numbers as far as like staff. Like what is how many people are you gonna have on your team total, including roofers, this next year?
So sometimes like you gotta look at. I would say probably over 100, 150. No, probably way more than that. 200 if we're really gonna hit I would say probably close to 200.
And you're doing Iowa and you're doing Minnesota. Is there another?
We also got licensed
market?
in North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and we do work in Wisconsin every year. Our goal is to open a third office this year. We're just gonna be intentional and kind of see what happens.
Where would you open it, you think? Omaha?
We're looking at certain size populations.
Yeah.
I don't like Minneapolis. I think is one of the most competitive markets in the roofing industry, but we went down to Cedar Rapids and cleaned house, so I like more like that mid-size.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Dakotas, have some decent sized towns on the border, like Duluth, Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the towns that will probably show up in this year. But like I go to where the work is. Like. This might be we're Minneapolis based, but like I'm not afraid to travel 3-4 hours for a job, because their jobs are pretty sizable.
Mm-hmm.
I remember last year one of the first roofs we did. Some dude called us from some lake up north, and he wanted us to roof his island, like the 3 buildings on his island, while the ice was still in. And then we dug into the details, and like we could have rushed it and put it together, but we were able to figure out the proper way to build it
On his island?
Yeah, he had an island on a lake with 3 houses on it,
okay.
and they need to be re-roofed. And kind of like turned into be a great job. But like we put together the deal, but he called one to do it on the ice, but no, we ended up renting a barge, sending people out there to do this, getting the trash off because like shingle debris is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that stuff is very heavy.
Yeah. Was it a big island?
Yeah.
And what was it on?
I think it was Frog Island on like Big Sandy or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. But like, we'll go up there. Like we do a bunch of work up north every year. We do a bunch of cabins every year. We'll go to where the work is. And yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let me see. I have a couple questions I want to ask you. I just want to see which one. What would you tell someone who's just starting out in business? Because I know you have a really good business sense. Obviously, you've ran a handful of different types of businesses.
Do you know what I think makes me successful? Like my stage, and not a lot of people can be afforded the luxury. But when I started this business, and still to this day, like my goal isn't to pay myself and make money. Like I've inevitably paid myself because I've done well, but it's never been my goal. Mm-hmm. It's like if my business needs capital, what can I do to get better? How can I solve this problem? Like, I don't need your money. I'd rather put that roof on, like I'd rather take my money, and invest it in that way and to build jobs, and to build the infrastructure to succeed. It's never been, I feel like a lot of people come from like the sales mentality. I'm so great. I'm a great salesman. I'm gonna go start a company, and they always are used to, oh, I sold a deal. This is my share, and then they apply that same to their business.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's really short-sighted. Like I look at this industry and like one of the ways is 50-50-10 or whatever. It's like 10% overhead of the job and then 50-50% profit split. And like I feel like if the owner's constantly taking out their 50%, it's impossible to scale.
Mm-hmm.
If they're always worried about getting theirs versus me, I want to go make sure to fix that. I want to go build that job. Oh, I need to hire a new person or I need a new vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It still blows my mind. I bought like 30 trucks in the last couple years.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I just keep going.
Are they all owned by options?
Some people I've owned their own, but I've helped them like with loans. But I own a handful now. Yeah, quite a few.
Oh.
I don't like my insurance bill. I think my insurance bill was $63,000
For the year?
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Jesus, just for auto insurance?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's not a low bill.
So you would say tell somebody starting out, you just tell them
have your finances in order. Like I feel like a lot of people don't start a business with enough capital, and I'm not saying that that's required, but like it to be a maximum success, have your finances in order. Have a savings account. Have money in the bank before you go, I'm going to start a business. Like it's really common in Texas. You can be delivering pizzas one day, installing roofs the next, or selling roofs the next. Like there's no licensure, no anything. You can do whatever. And that's scary, but I just look at like if you have your finance in order and you have some capital, you can make better decisions.
So you come from, you went to school for...
So my undergrad's in finance and my master's in accounting.
So you really understand finances.
Yeah.
Do you think that's helped you a lot?
Like I see numbers.
Yeah, I know.
I got like a photographic memory a little bit, but I see the math of it. Like my accountant makes fun of me because he says for an accountant you're not very exact. But like I can see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can play like in chess. I'm probably like 5-6 moves ahead because I see some stuff that some people don't see and do some planning in that foresight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool. Let me see here. So what have you always been so disciplined? That's one thing I kind of envy about you, or I look up to you about. You've always been, since I've known you, you've just been extremely disciplined. Is that something that you've learned, or have you just been that way since you were born?
Well, like, I've always gone through, like, obsessions, in my life. Like, if it was Pokemon cards, I was really into that as a kid, or various other things. And, like, I think when you first met me, I was really into bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, bodybuilding taught me if you do X, Y, and Z, you can get this result. And if you continue to apply and put the pieces together, that's the result you see. And, like, now I'm infatuated with my business. Like, I have trouble shutting it off. Like, my life revolves around it. But I'm having the time of my life running it. And I have some amazing people that, like, are my friends in my life,
So the discipline comes from just an obsession. Like, you get obsessed with the results of something.
I mean, and, like, once I start something, I can't quit. And if there's a problem to solve, I'm going to solve it. And, like, don't tell me I can't do something because watch me do it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, watch me prove you wrong.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. What are some tips to keeping it all together? Like your business has done insanely good over the last couple of years. And I know with growth come a lot of challenges. Like what do you do to keep everything together? You just work a ton of hours or
So one of like the jokes I like to say is like when I met Christina, my business wasn't what it is today. But she worked on a psych unit and then went into corporate healthcare and did some other stuff for a while. But I was like, I joke saying, she went from, working on a psych unit to have a psych patient at home, because she knows how to de-escalate me, how to keep me focused and on the right track. She'll call me on my shit, like my partner's invaluable in that regard. But what was the question again?
What are some tips to keeping it all together? And I think
I haven't kept dude, I lose my mind sometimes. Like I made some errors, but it's getting back on the horse, trying again, and like not giving up. Like once I start something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure out how to do it, or I'm gonna pay for my mistake. Like I just am one of those people who like never quit, you know?
How do you manage your schedule? Is it pretty crazy, or do you have an assistant, somebody who does that for you? Or
They want to hire me an assistant, but I don't know what that would look like. Like I wake up, go into the office, wife comes in like an hour or so later with my breakfast and the dogs, and then I work, probably 7-ish, give or take a few hours. And then, I think what makes us different, was really like it starts from the top down. It's like my guys know if they shoot me an email or tag in our CRM, I'll probably get back to them within a couple hours unless I'm sleeping. Just because I always have my phone on me, and if I can't do it from my phone, I'll do it in front of a computer when I have an opportunity. I run my life out of my email box. People call me and I always talk to them. But like if it doesn't exist in our system or an email, it doesn't exist in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just for documentation, because I say a lot of stuff and I might not always remember it because I do have a million moving pieces always at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to stay busy, but I run my life out of my email box. I always try to promptly get back to people. Then that dictates down. So if your boss is working on a Sunday during Sunday football and you see that, it's like, all right, maybe I should go do this Sunday night because like this is the right thing to do. Like they're not thinking that, God, my boss is on a yacht sitting on his hands. No, my boss is in the office working. I can go do my part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like my guys know I'm one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker in the company. But that might just be my obsession. But like I feel like the whole culture starts from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't ask my guys to do something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to ask you to work a holiday, there's going to be a damn good reason why we're working a holiday. Like, and then so.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, as far as like managing your schedule, you say you just kind of live out of your inbox. Is it reactive, or do you have things set up? Like today, what do you have going on? Obviously, you came here to do this.
I mean, I get a couple hundred emails a day. I have files and people ask a lot of questions. And, like I say, I'm like a keyboard quarterback almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll just sit and like assign someone to do this, follow up on someone on this. This is what I want you to do next for that. And just kind of keep all the pieces together and like try to plan, like figure certain things out. Like I have like ideas sometimes and it's like, all right, how do we implement this? I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
Okay, so last question on here, and then I'm gonna grab some out of the bin here. What is your favorite / and least favorite thing about running a company? What's your favorite thing, and what's your least favorite thing?
Well, my favorite thing is like, I'm a finance guy. Before more than anything, that like my first job out of college was I want to be a stockbroker. Market crashed in 2008, got laid off. But like my business has allowed me to get financial freedom. Like that is by far the biggest gift ever. It's been a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of work, but to like wake up and not worry about putting food on the table or a roof over my head or, various other things, like it's given us an amazing life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's set us up for an amazing life, and it continues to deliver. When was the least favorite?
What's your least favorite thing about running a company?
Dude, I hate managing people. like I am not good at it. I am just like I don't like conflict, and when managing people there's inevitably conflict, and I kind of not a big fan of it, and I kind of shy away. But that's where like my wife, who's my business partner too, can really step up to the plate, and the staff and the team I've been able to build. Like my management team knows that that's not my strength, so they're step in to fill those sort of roles. I can be the rah-rah cheerleader up at the front, and the quarterback, but like me being the discipliner, like...
Really? I wouldn't expect that.
I just don't like conflict, man. Like I don't like someone and me don't disagree, like...
Yeah,
like
I'm the same way.
I have a tendency to blow up, and come out sideways, it's just the truth of it.
You like get really mad?
It depends. Like what I find myself doing is when I try to solve stuff, I'll be really upset and just destroy someone, and I'll run them completely over. And it might not necessarily be over something that's worth, running someone over.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good answer. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah.
I want to have a couple kids. Like me and my wife want to have a couple kids. Picture us having a couple kids, raising those. Picture my business still being my business. You know, I have goals in that regard. Like we call it our 2025 plan. So we've done some growth and projections and some planning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like that shit never works out as you plan.
Mm-hmm.
But to have goals, you're able to equip and maneuver.
Yeah, and you see things, you take opportunities differently if you have goals.
You know, because right now I'm investing. You know, I've done really well, as you said. And like for me, it's like most people sit on their hands or try to like worry about like saving what they have. And like I'm thinking of what can we do to get better? Can we continue to take this to the next level? Like I'm not like people complain saying, why don't you just be happy with what you have? You got this amazing big business. And like I enjoy the process of building.
Yeah.
You know, like that's really what I've like learned. Like I like building this. Like it's been really fun to build and, you know, watch people succeed. You know, some of the coolest things have been people buying their first houses. You know, like I remember hiring a guy for $15 an hour in 2019. He was so grateful, told me this was the most money he's ever made in his life. You know, he made over 6 figures this year.
Really?
You know, he went from living in a trailer park in nowhere, North Carolina, to having an apartment, taking care of his mom and daughter.
Really?
You know, like he was homeless living in his car when I hired him.
Really? Wow.
I mean, and like, I see so many people like, you know, and like my staff will talk to me. They'd be like, before this, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, this is what I see. It's just like, I think I probably had like 5 employees buy their first houses. You know, like that's really cool. And then they want to show me and I'm excited because they know I like properties and, you know, things like that.
That's really cool. Cool. So we're going to hop into these questions, but I wanted to first, we forgot to introduce the tea. Can you so I put the packet up there. I'm just going to quick introduce the tea because we got to rate this tea at the end and I don't want to.
Which one is it?
It's macadamia nut. Here, just bring me the whole thing. All right. Sorry about that.
Fernando? Yeah. He was supposed to show up yesterday at 2. He never did.
Okay, so today, here's what we're sipping on Tea Time with Tony. It is called Macadamia Nut Organic. It is by Ticino. It's TEECCINO. Maybe we can put a picture of the packet up on the screen. It's prebiotic, caffeine-free, acid-free. We'll see what we think. What do you think about it? Actually, we'll rate it at the end. Don't say anything yet.
All right.
Okay, now we're going to hop into these questions here. These are fun questions. Random, dude. Okay. If money was out of the picture, what would you spend your time doing?
Same thing.
Love it. I'm exactly the same.
I mean, like, dude, I've already made way more money than I thought possible in this industry when I went down this path. And, like, the money doesn't motivate me. You know? Like, the money's great, you know? But, like, someone told me once, like, I have every t-shirt. You know, there's more to life than t-shirts. You know, and more or less what that means is experiences. You know, it's like you can only have so much stuff if you don't find a purpose that drives you outside of stuff. You know, what are you doing it? Like, it's just not fulfilling. And, like, I've really, like, I've learned that the last couple of years, like, especially, like, every, like, Thanksgiving-ish through Christmas, I lose my mind. You know, because work slows down. I kind of process like the end of the season and like my routine gets messed up. But you need a purpose more than money, just period.
So just building. Would you consider yourself a creative person?
I can't. I mean, maybe in some aspects. Like, I feel like my brain is different than people's. Like, if that makes sense. Just like my thought process and the way I look at problems and, you know, is not neurotypical, you know, like most people. Yeah. I think I'm unique in that way. You get the good with the bad, you know?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I only asked with a creative because, like, I have the same philosophy, like, with building a business. And I feel like the reason why I like building stuff. Like, I like just creating stuff. So that's the only reason I asked. Like, creating is creating, whether it's a business or it's a piece of art, you know? So, What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? My brain, shutting off my brain sometimes. Like, I'm very heady, if that makes sense. And it's like my wife has kind of been accustomed to it. But like, I'll just be thinking and processing stuff in my brain and like pacing. Like, I probably get 20,000 steps just walking around the office or walking around my desk or walking around my house back and forth on the phone or just thinking. You know, and we might be in the same room and I'm just walking around thinking for 2 hours, you know?
Really?
Yes. Like,
Just not doing anything, just thinking.
thinking of like solving various problems in my head, you know, or coming up with solutions for various problems or figuring out with how we're going to do this or that.
That's dope. That's really cool. Do you meditate?
No, I mean, I have. I don't really know. No.
Okay. Curious because headiness is not fun at night.
No. Like, I've gotten pretty good at like I wake up, like, I don't have any caffeine in my life. And people think that's crazy because of how much energy I have. But I wake up and like my feet just start running. And like I go to bed. I mean, I'm like a sleep baby. I probably average 8 hours a night, like every single night. Like I go to bed 10, 11, wake up around 7, 8. You know, that's kind of my sleep schedule. And, you know, from the time I'm up to the time I go to bed, I'm running probably 1,000,000 miles a minute. But when my head hits the pillow and I go to that bedroom, like I do a pretty good job of falling asleep.
Did you excel at math when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Like in math classes, like high school, like even in...
Yeah, like I can do I can do a lot of math in my head. I see numbers very well. Like my worst classes growing up were like English, religion, and sort of spelling. Like I don't think I could have graduated.
Where'd you go to school? Religion.
For high school, I went to St. Thomas Academy until I got expelled.
Okay. Makes sense then.
But, yeah.
This one I probably already know, but what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about my business. Passionate about, like, my wife makes me better. My dogs. Those would be the...
Family? You're pretty close with your family?
I try to be. You know, like, there's been periods in my life where I haven't been. I'm really trying to be intentional in developing and continuing to maintain those relationships. Like, even with my one sister that I historically haven't liked very much. You know, she's matured a lot and I've matured a lot. So, you know, you only have one family. And, like, in my experience, like, they stick to you through thick and thin, you know? And they're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, my dad is, like, super successful. And, like, half my siblings don't talk to him because he's kind of an asshole. But, like, at the end of the day, the question is, do I have a relationship with him or not?
Mm-hmm.
And the way I look at it is, well, I only got one father. Probably never going to ask him about relationship advice, but his business advice is very sound, and financial advice. You know, it's, and I choose to have a relationship with him versus not.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm like 2 days going to visit him and he tells me no because he wants to work or gets in a fight with his wife or some other things to cancel my trip, I still call him the next week to see how he's doing.
Yeah.
So.
That's really cool. Pop question. Good ones in here. What book has had the most impact on your success? Would you say? I know you're a reader.
I used to be a really big reader. I don't read as much as I want to now. Like, there's this one book, and I think it's 0 to 1. And it's talking about entrepreneurs. And it talks about different types. Or maybe it was talking about successful people. I think it was just talking about successful people. And there was 2 types of people in this world. And it's like, when people have that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. And, like, with my business, I've had this opportunity. Mm-hmm. And, like, in my mind, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And, like, I got this opportunity. I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of it.
Is it 0 to 1? Do you know if it is? Because we can put it up. Bo, write that down. We'll put it up on the screen because I haven't read it and I want to read it.
The other thing it talks about, like, I'll joke about it when I have a son. Like, I want to put a field goal thing in the backyard. And he's going to practice field goals for 4 hours a day from the time he's little all the way for the rest of his life. He's going to be like the Serena Williams sisters of kicking field goals. That's a guaranteed 6-figure income in the NFL. We're going to get him in psychotherapy so he can be a field goal kicker. But, like, he will have to practice.
Why a field goal kicker?
Because you don't need to be any sort of genetics. Like, my wife's really short, so I'm probably going to have short children. But, like, you don't need any sort of genetics. You need to be calm. You don't need any sort of body. You just got to be able to be accurate. And it's one of those things, the more you do, the better you get. And if you're doing it 4 hours a day from the time you're a child all the way through life,
It's guaranteed.
I mean, I'm willing to bet on it. You know, like,
You don't get hurt.
you don't get hurt. You can have a long career.
Yeah.
Like, how many jobs can you graduate college with like a nice $400,000 income minimum salary as a field goal kicker?
That's a good idea. It's unique.
You
but
know,
it's a
even
good
good
idea,
field goal
dude.
kickers make like a couple million a year. You know, and if you're really good, because you're going to be
Well,
practicing.
he's gonna be real good.
Exactly.
What is the hardest thing you've had to overcome?
I don't know, man. Like, getting back, I don't know. Like, there's been several, like, life, like, ending moments in my mind where I thought my world was crashing down. But the question is, like, how do you get back on the horse and keep going or do it again or find something else to do? And when I get in those spots, I've been able to pull myself out. Hardest thing I've had to do, I don't know if I let the employee go or he left or really how it ended. I had a really close friend who I probably let get too close. And, you know, our friendship hasn't recovered. You know, I'm interested to see where that goes. That's kind of on my mind. Like, I don't know. My wife, like, and me, or just when I get in fights, I get over shit really fast and move on. That's something I'm good at. Not everyone else is good at, but yeah. I mean, I can't really think of, like, I just don't remember.
Yeah.
You know, because at the time it might be whatever,
Yeah,
but it's,
when you hop back on and it goes well, then it's like it's no longer that big of a deal anymore.
yeah, like I remember when I worked at that stock brokerage place. I made this horrible mistake and they were going to fire me and let me go. And like, I was so mad. I was walking home to Egan from St. Paul. Like, I walked for like 5 hours home from the office because I was so mad.
Like you literally
Was walking from downtown St. Paul all the way to my townhouse in Egan.
really.
Yeah, it's like I was just.
It was because you were mad? Like they didn't actually let you go, you just got mad?
Oh no, they were gonna let me go, and I was furious at myself for being a dumbass. I'm gonna lose my first real job over something. I was furious, and they were gonna let me go, and then the management decided not to keep me because I was a good employee, and like everyone, then they decided to give me a second chance. And it was literally something really dumb. It was, I didn't feel comfortable making a phone call. I was supposed to make this phone call. I totally made the phone call, didn't make the phone call. You know, something really fucking stupid, but they were gonna fire me. Like they should have fired me over it, you know?
Yeah.
And they didn't, you know, and they let me go 3 months later when the stock market crashed.
That's crazy. So you left there just thinking you were gonna get fired.
No, they pretty much told me like you're supposed to get fired, yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, fuck. I was so distraught, you know, but like,
It all happened for the better, probably.
yeah, it was kind of like when I quit working for John. That was like, what am I gonna do next? You know, and like I was kind of a bum for like a month. I had to figure out that sort of stuff. Or I mean, I had some stuff, but never really been a bum. But
I've really been a bum. Yeah, that's funny. You fired me once.
oh, from the warehouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally fired me.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I fired Lauren too.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. I didn't even care, dude. That was like a filler job, and I was not wanting to go.
Dude,
to
it's the
work.
worst job ever.
Well, because you got a Liam in there, and he's like yelling at you in Russian. I can't even understand him. Dude. He's trying to tell me what to do. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
That was tough. Yeah. Okay, so this is a good one. Introvert or extrovert? I think I know this one.
I think I'm pretty introverted. I've learned how to adapt to social situations over my life.
Yeah. So you'd say you're introverted.
Yeah.
Just adapted. That's exactly how I am. Extremely introvert. I hate people. I just don't like talking to people, really.
I mean, sometimes like I want to go out and do stuff, you know, and be around people, but like sometimes like I just want to sit at home and be by myself or whatever. But yeah.
Last one here. Well, not the last thing I'll ask, but what is your morning routine? Take us through like what your day looks like. the first half of your day?
So the night before I go to bed, I lay out my clothes for the next day. And I do that because I'm either going to shower upstairs if my wife's somewhat awake, or I'm going to go downstairs and shower. So I'll grab those if I'm going downstairs to shower. And then I shower, go to work. Get to the office, go through my email, and then my day kind of begins. My wife will bring my lunch probably at breakfast an hour or so later.
What time do you go to the office?
I mean, like shortly after the sun comes up. So like in the summer, I would say I'm there closer to 7. Like now in the winter, it's probably closer to 8. And like I like to like take like a morning or an afternoon break, even if it's just like running to get gas in my car sometimes because I want to get out of the office. Like I can't sit at my desk for more than 20 minutes. I'm constantly walking somewhere or filling up my water bottle or talking to someone else in their office and like.
Yeah. What do you work out currently? Are you going to the gym?
I think we've gone 6 times this year, or maybe 5.
In 2022?
2022. I'm trying to get better at it. It used to be my life. I mean, you know this. I was very routine in what I eat, and I've been struggling with motivation, because I no longer want to be the biggest or the strongest. I'm trying to take more of a healthful approach, and I'm 110% person or nothing. So I'm really like struggle with the motivation for the gym. I'm trying to do more cardio. Like I got this plan when I move into my new house. I'm going to wake up every morning and go do cardio.
Where do you have a membership?
A Lifetime.
Yeah. Do you go to the Edina one ever?
I've been there.
Yeah.
Like my office, you know where the Crosstown one is? 62 and 494.
No. I don't go over there ever.
I'm like right behind that one. Like that's where my office.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's one of the old Northwest clubs, so it's kind of goofy like Bloomington South a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so much bigger.
Really?
In Bloomington South, yeah.
Do you ever play basketball?
No, but I'm going to start playing pickleball or racquetball or basketball. Like
anything that can get you moving that is fun, because I think like running on a treadmill is so boring, dude.
Yeah, so like a bunch of my staff is playing pickleball. And
well, that's a perfect get together with people.
Yeah, and it's like networking for potential clients, like people that play retired people that play pickleball usually.
Have you played? Do you know how to play pickleball?
Yeah, it's like a ghetto tennis.
Yeah, little tiny rackets.
Yeah, it's like an old person's tennis, but it's not you got to run or as big of a court.
Yeah, it's like a mix between. Is it a mix between like table tennis?
Do you know who's really good at pickleball?
Who?
Chris Humphries.
I don't know who that is.
Kim Kardashian's ex-husband.
Oh, really?
He's the one that got all my guys playing pickleball with him.
Really?
Yeah. I'm friends with him. He texts me occasionally now.
Really?
Yeah, like customer turned friend. He thinks my sales rep's goofy, but he is. But
where does he live?
Minnetonka.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah. Cool. I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else you want to leave me with here? Otherwise, I'm gonna have you leave the viewers with something here.
I don't really have anything to say, man. As I said, like I don't know how bad this is. I've turned down a lot of these opportunities, but you asked me, and you're my friend, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say this is an exclusive. He has turned down a lot of interviews with other people on podcasts. So this is now. Are you gonna start doing them more if this one turned out good?
I don't know.
So this one will get a ton of views when he does a real famous one.
Well, I'm sure it probably will.
So what I like to do is anybody on, if you could leave the audience with one thing, just one thing to leave them with, one piece of thing that they could take from this if they didn't learn anything.
Get over it, move on, keep going.
That's perfect. That is perfect. So this was Tea Time with Tony. This is Aaron Bible, and I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Oh, wait. Before, we got to rate the tea. So there we go. Always messing it up. So
kind of smells like chocolate.
Yeah, it smells like chocolate. I would give it a. God, I'm trying to be like. Have you seen Barstool, that guy who rates pizza on Facebook?
No, but like, dude, I don't even drink tea, so I don't even know what I compare it to.
You just get it like compared to any drink you've ever had.
It's not bad. I mean, I pretty much only drink.
It's a 10 scale. 10 tea bags.
5.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna give it a 4.
All right.
It wasn't bad. It was good, but I'm gonna be very. I'll give it a 4.
Cool.
What was it again?
Macadamia nut tea. Yeah. So that's it. thank you guys for watching. We'll be here next week. Peace.
All right.
That was good, dude.
See you, man.
That was real